PL World, at Middle World 1 YouTube channel. Swallowed Star 2, Origin Continent. Volume 9, Advancing Through the Darkness. Chapter 360, Semi-Hunyuan Life Death Dao. 22nd of Volume 9. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Luo Feng's Semi-Hunyuan Life Death Dao pursued the limit of an immensely vast physical form, making the spiritual will consciousness system an indispensable part of it. From the Hunyuan bloodline, it could be seen that even low-level Hunyuan lifeforms born with innate Hunyuan bloodlines lacked a complete spiritual will consciousness system. Among high-level Hunyuan lifeforms, only those with extremely large physiques possessed this system. This system was exceedingly complex, far more difficult to comprehend than even high-level Hunyuan bloodlines. Even with Luo Feng's comprehension ability and the aid of rare treasures, it still took him over 5,000 epochs to create a spiritual will consciousness system suited to himself. To put this into perspective, Luo Feng had only spent a little over 2,000 epochs cultivating in the Nine Rivers Holy Realm. My spiritual will consciousness system has reached this stage, and my spiritual will has broken free from the cage. Yet, the spiritual will consciousness system still had vast room for growth. If he wished to control an even more massive world-level Hunyuan body or a lord-level body, the demands on his spiritual will consciousness system would only increase. Luo Feng understood this well. Within the cage, this spiritual will consciousness system could be called perfect. But beyond the cage, it was still immature. With a single thought, he could now perfectly control every ounce of power in his colossal body. His vitality had become even more terrifying. The 32% of his strength that had been annihilated was also rapidly recovering. Such minor injuries were completely healed in the blink of an eye, restoring him to his peak state with 1.2 billion-fold energy reserves. My control over my body has reached an unimaginable level. Luo Feng sensed that as long as his body's depletion did not exceed 20%, he could recover within moments. Even he was also a little astonished. The life-death Dao physique based on life, combined with the spiritual will consciousness system, granted him such terrifying vitality. My path is correct. To slay the enemy, I must first be unkillable. If the enemy cannot harm me, I can unleash the might of my massive body without restraint. Even after witnessing the highest level of destruction contained within the void-severing blade, Luo Feng remained unwavering. No matter how formidable destruction was, its purpose was to ensure the safety of life. Life undoubtedly took precedence over destruction. The Hunyuan prisoner hovered in the air, faint golden flames burning atop the sea of blood, yet his gaze was fixed below. His expression shifted slightly in shock. How is this possible? The Hunyuan prisoner could sense that his corrupting power had been purged in an instant. It was a force that had similarly broken free from the cage, the power of spiritual will. Boom. The once endless sea of blood instantly coalesced, transforming into a black-clothed, black-haired man. Previously, Luo Feng had relied on the sea of blood formation in battle because, despite his 1.2 billion-fold energy reserves, he could not fully utilize most of it. Thus, the formation was necessary to amplify his power. But now, he could perfectly control every life unit through spiritual will. There was no longer any need for formations. His spiritual will consciousness system was the most flawless formation. Every ounce of power was under his absolute command. Hunyuan prisoner, I should thank you for helping me take this step. Luo Feng looked at him. Take this step. The Hunyuan prisoner sneered. No matter how much you break through, you're still within the cage. You have no power to resist at all. Oh. Luo Feng stretched out his hand, and an alchemy furnace appeared in his grip. This furnace could refine enemies or simply be used to smash them. Both functions were part of its inherent mysteries. Luo Feng felt that the alchemy furnace was now the most suitable weapon for his physique. Ridiculous. The Hunyuan prisoner was utterly disdainful. Even a sliver of high-level Hunyuan power was a qualitative difference. The Hunyuan prisoner instantly transformed into golden flames, charging straight at Luo Feng. Perish. Luo Feng swung the alchemy furnace with all his might, channeling his 1.2 billion-fold energy reserves. Every ounce of power merged flawlessly with the furnace's runes and patterns. As he struck, space-time itself was torn and distorted. It was as if the heavens and earth were being split apart. The colossal furnace came crashing down upon the Hunyuan prisoner. Boom. The Hunyuan prisoner didn't even bother to dodge, instead it went head-on with the 8 arms slacking at Luo Feng angrily. But in this terrifying collision, the Hunyuan prisoner's expression changed. The force of the furnace's impact actually suppressed him. The furnace crashed through his 8 arms and smashed directly into his skull. The last time when they clashed, Luo Feng's palm was annihilated and his arm shattered. The advantage had been overwhelmingly in the Hunyuan prisoner's favor. But now, the tables had turned completely. Luo Feng held an overwhelming advantage. The furnace's strike sent the Hunyuan prisoner plummeting into the earth, shaking the ground like a quaking lake, sending tremors across an immeasurable distance. The more than 1,000 practitioners watching from afar hastily retreated further. His power has increased dramatically, it feels dozens of times stronger. The Hunyuan prisoner, embedded deep in the crater, could hardly believe it. How can a life form within the cage be this powerful? Compared to before, Luo Feng's energy reserves had increased roughly tenfold. Moreover, with the completion of his life-death Dao and his spiritual will breaking free from the cage, the furnace's runes patterns unleashed even greater powers. In terms of raw power alone, his overall strength had indeed multiplied dozens of times. The Hunyuan prisoner could wield a sliver of high-level Hunyuan power, but only a sliver. Luo Feng's current state completely suppressed him. In a single step, Luo Feng traversed the torn fabric of space, appearing before the Hunyuan prisoner. The pill furnace rose high, then came crashing down again. Boom. 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 The relentless strikes were like the fury of creation itself. The distant practitioners could only see flashes of light, the earth heaving again and again like waves. At the center of the battle, only Luo Feng's figure could be seen, hammering down the Hunyuan prisoner was nowhere in sight. This is Longju Daojun and God Emperor GK, piloting a flying vessel capable of short-range void traversal, had rushed to the battlefield at top speed. The moment they arrived, they witnessed Luo Feng wielding the alchemy furnace, smashing it down upon the Hunyuan prisoner again and again. This power. Longju Daojun and God Emperor GK watched as each strike distorted and shattered the surrounding space-time, sending the endless earth rolling in upheaval. The sight made their faces pale. This was the Dark Holy Realm, a world with incomparably stable space-time. Yet under Luo Feng's power, heaven and earth seemed fragile. Has God Emperor Luo Feng become a high-level Hunyuan life form? God Emperor GK couldn't help but ask. Why does it feel like I'd vanish even if he just touched me? I don't know. Longju Daojun was equally bewildered. High above, the silver-haired, silver-browed man and the red-robed woman were also stunned by the scene. The Hunyuan prisoner can't even fight back, he's being beaten to death. The red-robed woman murmured, a life form within the cage is about to kill a Hunyuan prisoner capable of wielding a sliver of high-level Hunyuan power. The silver-haired man shuddered inwardly, exclaiming, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would never have believed it. The red-robed woman nodded. Although a true high-level Hunyuan life form wouldn't possess only a sliver of Hunyuan power. But what Luo Feng is doing now is something I've never even heard of. Neither of them had ever known a practitioner within the cage to grow this strong. Oh, the Hunyuan prisoner is dead. Yes. Jie Chu said. Luo Feng showed no mercy. Yi Feiya smiled. Come, let us greet fellow Taoist Luo Feng. Luo Feng had swung the alchemy furnace hundreds of times, smashing the stubborn Hunyuan prisoner into nothing but dust until even its life core was shattered. Only then did he finally stop. Exhilarating. Luo Feng felt an overwhelming sense of catharsis. He had no intention of capturing the Hunyuan prisoner alive after all, high-level Hunyuan bloodlines compatible with him were easily obtainable and comprehensible. As for these prisoners, it was better to grant them a swift end. For enemies, for the faction of innate Hunyuan lifeforms, Luo Feng held not even a shred of pity. Nor did he wish to torment them, death was the simplest solution. He didn't even know that this spectacle had completely terrified the 1,000 practitioners watching from afar, or the newly arrived Longju Daojun and God Emperor GK. Luo Feng raised his head, scanning his surroundings. When his gaze fell upon Longju Daojun and God Emperor GK, he smiled faintly and nodded. Brother Luo Feng. Longju Daojun and God Emperor GK called out. Though they weren't entirely sure of Luo Feng's current state, one thing was undeniable: he had undoubtedly achieved a breakthrough. Otherwise, he wouldn't be this absurdly powerful. Before Luo Feng could exchange words with them, he sensed the space around him shift. Two figures descended: a silver-haired, silver-browed man and a fiery-robed woman. Their auras were vast and boundless. If the Hunyuan prisoner had only wielded a sliver of high-level Hunyuan power, then these two before him now held an immeasurable ocean of it. Two high-level Hunyuan lifeforms. Luo Feng was inwardly shocked. I am Jie Chu. I am Yi Feiya. The silver-haired man and the fiery-robed woman introduced themselves with a smile. We are the guardians of the Dark Holy Realm, the silver-haired man explained. Luo Feng greets the two guardians. Luo Feng bowed respectfully. The fiery-robed woman smiled. We have long observed fellow Taoist Luo Feng. Today, you have finally broken through and achieved the semi-Hunyuan life-death Tao. Congratulations, fellow Taoist Luo Feng. The silver-haired man added. Luo Feng was surprised. The two guardians knew of my cultivation in the life-death Tao. The silver-haired man nodded. When you last fought God Emperor Mi Shu and the others, Yi Feiya and I reported to the Lord. The Lord even personally descended into the dark holy realm to observe you closely. But at that time, your life-death Dao was still incomplete, so you were not yet ready for ascension. Luo Feng understood now. He had once wondered why, despite possessing invincible realm strength, he had not been summoned. So the Lord had already descended once he simply hadn't met the conditions back then. The Lord you speak of? Luo Feng inquired. Our dark holy realm was originally the territory of the earliest Lord, Senior Jin. The silver-haired man, Jie Chu, spoke openly. Later, when new Lord arose, the territories of our practitioner faction were redivided. This place then became the domain of Senior Yuan. Every time a new Lord emerges, the territory are redecided. Yi Feiya added, we have already reported your breakthrough to Senior Yuan. It won't be long before he comes to guide you away. Come, let us wait in the large Hunyuan Hall. Senior Yuan usually descends there. Luo Feng nodded and waved his hand, storing away the corpse of the Hunyuan prisoner. The silver-haired man and the fiery-robed woman watched this with mixed emotions. They had a premonition this fellow Taoist Luo Feng was extraordinary. To be so powerful within the cage. Once he broke free, he would undoubtedly become even stronger. The two guardians then escorted Luo Feng, traversing vast distances in an instant through void teleportation, arriving at the large Hunyuan Hall. There, they treated him to fine food and wine, their attitudes humble, treating Luo Feng as an equal. Since fellow Taoist Luo Feng arrived in the dark holy realm, we have been observing you, Jie Chu said with a smile. Noting your profound accumulation, we deliberately released a Hunyuan prisoner to assist you in your breakthrough. So it was the two guardians who aided me. Luo Feng was astonished and grateful. Without you, who knows how long it would have taken me to break through. Yi Feiya chuckled. With fellow Taoist Luo Feng's comprehension and potential, even without us, the delay wouldn't have been long. Go Chu agreed. Your talent far surpasses ours. Your future achievements will undoubtedly exceed ours as well. Luo Feng said, now that I've reached the semi-Hunyuan life-death Dao, I'm uncertain of how to proceed further. We lack the ability to guide you, Go Chu admitted. But be patient. When the Lord summons you, he will naturally show you the best path forward. Though they had heard that most fusion path practitioners usually refines Hunyuan bloodlines to become a world-level Hunyuan lifeforms, but they dared not advise Luo Feng to do so. Because they also knew refining a Hunyuan bloodline came with hidden consequences. Those who could become world-level Hunyuan lifeforms without relying on bloodlines had far greater potential. Suddenly, Yi Feiya sensed something. Luo Feng also felt an intangible fluctuation similar to the resonance of a origin world source. Then, an elderly figure materialized. Senior Yuan. Luo Feng recognized him at once. This was his second time meeting the Senior Yuan. He immediately rose and bowed. Lord. Jie Chu and Yi Feiya were even more reverent. The elderly man looked at Luo Feng with an approving smile. Good. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to MTL World at Middle World 1 YouTube channel.